Welcome back to the shop. We're on episode 2 of the 63-110 mower deck restoration project. So as you can see, we're all done. Everything's made for the top cover. Something's weird about this one. It's a little soft, but it should be all right. So as you can see here, I made a cardboard template off of the original. Lays over pretty easily. On the back side, you can kind of see what I did. Laid everything out, drew dash lines for bends and straight lines for cuts, and basically took a bunch of measurements off of the original cover that my good friend Kenny left me. So you can kind of see where we're going here. Got the cardboard layout done, and really this is helpful, but you can't really lay out anything on new metal with being flat off of this. It's hard to trace and that sort of thing, to where doing this tells you kind of everything you need to know. So basically, if you smash that in a big press, this is what you would get. This kind of tells you everything, where to bend it up, bend it down, different tab and flanges, if you will, lengths. Some of the interesting things when you're going through this type of thing on oddball weird stuff like a mower deck top cover for a 63 mower deck, you would think that everything's kind of in line, centered, symmetrical left to right, but because of this with the deck chute, this diagonal here actually dictates that this length in between the end of the cover versus that side, this is much farther back, I believe. So it's actually not symmetrical. And then the three slots that are cut in the back are actually not center. You can kind of see that's the center line, and that's where the tab is. So it's just weird little stuff like that, where if you do it to what you would think it would be, it's actually wrong. So having a part like this to go off of is super helpful, very handy to have when you're doing this. But now that we have the cardboard template, we will trace it over to a sheet of material of the correct thickness of steel, because yes, you can in fact bend steel. So that's what we'll be doing. Sometimes, which in this case I did, because there's some funky bends here. Nothing that difficult. However, you can kind of back yourself into a corner if you're not careful with bending things like this, to where it doesn't fit the machine, or you should have done this one first and then the next one next. But if you reverse that, you can't really do the next bend, and then you're kind of scrapping it and starting over. So what I like to do is take the actual cardboard template, put it in the press with the box and pan brake, and start bending it that way. So doing so kind of tells you, okay, weird things like that. When you're bending this line, you can see here, that line there is from the machine going across. So doing that is going to be not difficult, but I got to be conscious of that, and some of that stuff I might end up kind of either having to farm out because I don't have a machine that does it, or I can kind of fart around with it a little bit and play with it. My current plan is to make one for myself because I need one. However, I do have everything, and since I'm going to go through it, I might do one or two extra ones. So if you need one of these for your 63 mower deck cover, because yours is either missing or just no longer there, put it down in the comments, or reach out to me on Instagram at Pope of John Deere, same as the YouTube channel here. And as always, feel free to like this video, subscribe, give it a big thumbs up if you like it. If you don't, put it down in the comments, tell me why you don't. What we're going to do now is get this traced over onto some steel, and we will cut this out and keep moving forward. Alright, so we got this hole cut. You can see me struggling here to cut it, but it went pretty well otherwise. Wanted to get this done, make sure if I mess anything up I at least could be only this far along to mess it up. Use a lot of lube as per usual. That's very important in life. Use a lot of lube with these hole saws. They go a lot easier. Use some Tap Magic. The good Hercules Harbor Freight hole saw worked really well. Cutting a 5-inch hole with anything is kind of difficult just from it catching and whatnot. And this is 16 gauge, so it's kind of one of those things where it's not really fun to cut that side of the hole with hole saw. But we have it done. I'm going to cut up the hole, clean up the hole, and clean all this mess up, and we'll move on to the next step. So we're back in the shop. It's a little warmer today. Continuing on with this top cover for the 63 110 mower deck. As you can see, I got test fitted on here. We'll go over that. This thing's not kicking my butt, but there's always a but. And usually it's getting kicked, and today is mine. So I had to make up some weird little tooling, like T-bar, dolly, basically, to help hammer over this. As you can see, we got the hole cut, cleaned up, deburred, got all the other smaller holes all trimmed up. The idea is that all the supporting brackets come up through, but you want it tight, but you still want it to be basically clearanced around there, that it doesn't sit there and rattle as you're going. So all the holes are lining up really well. I have all the lines for the back bends drawn out and laid out, which is great, but I wanted to do those last because I wanted to get these front ones done. Being that this leg is so short in the Z, basically, the middle leg is short, which is fine if you have a knife die, a thin die, and a knife punch on a press brake. You can do this pretty easily. That's how I would assume they did it back in the day. It's fun for me to go through projects like this and really dissect how they would have done it, especially with mass producing them. Obviously, they only did roughly 1,000 of these mower decks like this, for the reason of the manufacturing is just too much for this labor-wise, and tooling changes and whatnot, versus just doing this in one big stamping. So it's cool to replicate this. The problem is when you're only doing one or two, it kind of sucks to do when you don't have the tooling, and the tooling costs more than what the project's worth. So nevertheless, we got this done. It came out pretty well. You can see the bends came out pretty good. It would have been a lot easier, but also use what you got and make the most of it. So so far we got the front bends in, and we got these all cut out, which looks great. You can see that located pretty well, and when I drew out the lines on the back side, this just barely gets cut off by the bend, which is exactly shown as the original one that I have to go off of. So now we will bend the 3 back ones, put it back down on, and see where we're at, make sure everything test fits. What I'm concerned about, like, I don't have the holes in the front, so locating this front to back, it works great with the holes now, but if those holes have to be front to back, I only have so much play. So if I was to do this again, I would probably have this laid out in CAD and probably laser plasma cut. Being so thin, it wouldn't matter if it's plasma cut, but we could plasma cut this and then have somebody with a press brake bend this and all of these, and be a little easier. And all these holes took a long time to file out and dial in by hand. All good. It's just that when you're doing 1 or 2, it's really not that big of a deal. And the programming for this would be pretty intensive, as far as a couple hours worth of design time versus just a couple hours of cutting it out by hand. So I'm going to set you guys up and bend this, and the last couple bends straight, and then set it back down, make sure it fits, and then we'll work on the dimples. So this is kind of one of the test pieces. I got pretty close, but we will see how that goes and see what we can do. So as you can see, we got this thing all bent up, bent the sides down, bent the back. It can't go the whole way down because your spindles hit, which is the reason for the domes in the top. This thing's coming out pretty good, but now's the time to ruin it. I don't know exactly how I'm going to, but I got to put these dimples in it. I have the Bailey planishing hammer here to help smooth out possibly. I have a few options here I'd like to look at. I'd like to potentially not put too much heat into it, but I don't really know. So if you have any suggestions, put it down in the comments. Tell me how I'm supposed to be doing it. But so far, so good. Basically, we're done except for the dimples. But once the dimples get put in, I'm sure there'll be a little bit of trimming here on some of those little cutouts. Otherwise, like I said, we're coming out pretty good. And then we got to just punch the holes in the front, 2 holes on each side. Don't want to do that until we know exactly where to put them, but let's put the dimples in and we'll keep going. All right, guys, so you can see where we're at here. I didn't mess it up too bad. I put some dimples in it. Basically took a piece of 2x8, drilled a hole that's the correct size for the diameter, beat it in with a mallet, with a round head sheet metal mallet. Got pretty good shape. I'd like to smooth it out some with each hammer hit, but that's what I have the planishing hammer here for. Gonna sit here and smooth them out, see how far that gets us. But once we smooth these out, this top cover, as you can see, I got the holes punched in the front. It's sitting really nice, right where it needs to, along here and in the back. For the studs, maybe need to clean those up as far as make them a little wider, make it smoother, sit down. Really nice radius around here, nice and center, right where it should be. I'm gonna have to put the dimple in here as well, which I'm gonna have to figure out how to do. But once I do that and smooth these dimples out, we should be good to go and back in business and ready to move on and go to the main shell of the mower deck, do the rust repair on that. I wanted to do this because before I start cutting everything up and start welding pieces here and there and putting a lot of heat into the main shell, this is right where it needs to be because this is where it was. The original, luckily, that we have bolts right on, just like this one will whenever we're done. So, so far so good, and we'll planish this out and we'll pick up from there. Alrighty, so this pretty much concludes episode number 2. I'm sure number 3, and sure there's plenty more coming after that. Got this pretty well knocked out. This is really nice and smoothed out with the planishing hammer. You can watch me do that. And got this really smoothed out. This one came out really, really crisp around the edge. Basically looks just like the original. This was kind of a pain in the butt to do. You can see where the belt goes down into it, is where it needs clearance. So it goes down in here. This side will come up to the top side of the front mower drive belt. So it came out pretty well. Just kind of a pain in the butt to do that because there's not much support here because of this big hole. Had to shrink a little bit here to get some of the oil canning out of it, but pretty much this thing's ready to go. So set this aside. We'll start taking everything else apart, start fixing the rust holes and whatnot in the front and everywhere else in this thing. For a mower deck, this is pretty much as close as you can get to like just throwing out and starting over. With that being said, though, I like to show that no matter how bad it is, with enough work, time, and effort, as well as money, you too can take something like this and make it new again and not just get thrown out. Save some of the soul and some of the stuff that's built into it, character and whatnot. Save it, keep it going, kind of keep a piece of history alive. If this was just a normal 38 mower deck, I don't think I would be doing all this. But being that this is a 63 mower deck, I don't even have a 63 to put this on, but it's still worth kind of doing. And I figured if I don't do it, it's just going to sit on somebody's pile of junk and either continue to get worse or just never get done. So no time like the present, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget to give it a thumbs up, or if you don't like it, give it a thumbs down, and hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching.